Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding, and I am back once again with Court Currency. Not just a successful, what's that?
You remember?
I did remember. I thought I messed it up when you said that. I'm glad I didn't. Not only a successful and consistent trader, I've gotten a chance to get to know Court through a few of these interviews. I've even had him on the Trader Bacon show and gotten to see sort of what he does in action. Always have an opportunity to look forward to the opportunities to talk to him. Very impressed by what he's been doing and his continued growth. Court, thanks for hanging out with me today, man. How you doing?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm great. I actually look forward to these interviews. You know, I don't speak about trading to many people, but yeah, just ecstatic about the consistency over this. This definitely has been a journey.
Yeah.
You know, lost a lot of money, broke a lot of computer screens. But we're finally here, you know.
I think that's just such a story that we can all resonate with. We've all been through the ups and downs. We've all had those moments. I don't think I've actually broken a computer screen, but I certainly have thought about throwing a laptop out of a second story window before. It's absolutely an emotional journey, and I think that's one of the things that makes it a little bit maybe more difficult than just, say, starting a business. I've been a business owner. I owned a mattress shop for 20 years, and nothing that I ever did in that world was as hard as an average day trading for me. Simply because those emotions do start to kind of come into play, and it's a factor. I mean, it definitely changes the dynamics of what we do. Now, you've been consistently successful. I mean, I don't know how many interviews we've done at this point, but it's several, and I know that you're consistently growing and developing. So let me ask you something. I mean, we get to a point where, you know, we see a trader is month after month or 8 days after 8 days, depending on where you are in your cycle, pulling out money. As a trader, what are you doing during that time? I mean, have you hit like a certain level where you're like, this is it, I've got it, I basically come in, I do my trading, I do my journaling, and I'm out? Or do you continue to put in work towards that trading journey?
Well, I definitely, you know, I believe it's a never-ending journey as far as that's concerned. As far as the days where like I get discouraged after like leaving my trading desk, I think that's over. When I can have a losing day, and actually last week I had a losing week, and still be confident, I think that says volumes. I have a edge. I have defined risk. You know, all the things I think to be a full-time trader and trade like professionally in my realm professionally.
Right.
So it's very important to put the time in. You know, you got to give it a real effort.
I love that because I think one of those one of the challenges I know I've struggled with, and I know I'm not alone in this, is what could just be a typical average no frills losing day turns into blown accounts. And I've gone through this, and not only have I gone through this, I've gone through this within the last couple of weeks. As I continue my journey, as I continue to grow and develop, I certainly haven't achieved the levels that you have, but I do see the fact that it is a constant battle. But I love hearing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel there. There's a point where maybe after a few payouts, after seeing that level of consistency, maybe keeping some solid stats, because I think that always builds that confidence, we can simply shut it down after we've taken a defined amount of loss and be okay with it. You talked about having a losing week. Now, as you go through these cycles, I mean, have you defined what level of drawdown you statistically go to, and like, do you base your risk management on that? Like what's for example, what's a max losing streak for you?
Yeah, so it'll be 3 trades.
3 trades, okay.
3 trades, because like I kind of defined the system. So you know, number one, I trade micros. I trade pretty small, right? And then you know, if a trade is going in my favor, I will add to it.
Okay.
Especially on like, because I started all the evals at different times. All the accounts are different sizes.
Sure.
You know, I'll enter the first trade like allowing myself 50 points of drawdown. If I lose that one, the second one, you know, I say up to 30 points of drawdown, because I'm looking at, and kind of as we spoke earlier, looking for the move of the day.
Right.
I'm looking at like the very top or bottom of the day. It usually works out, and by the third time, if I miss it the third time, I just call it a day, because I'm most likely just, my bias is wrong.
Right.
Anyway.
So it's interesting. So three trades is like a typical max losing streak. Based on your risk management, I think this is important for people to hear. How many trades in a row could you technically lose and still keep an account?
To keep an account, you know, I peel back the percentage each time.
Okay.
So it's about 8%
Right.
that I calculated. So 8% of risk the first time.
Sure.
Peel it back to 4%,
Okay.
and then 2%. So like it's really, you know, like I would feel it before when I was a new trader. You really don't feel it, you know, and it prevents me because I know how it can get. I can lose the accounts that I you know work so hard to build, even though it's not all my money, but it's still your babies. You build these over months and months. It's been some time now. I'm not gonna just give it back because of some revenge trading.
I love it. And interestingly enough, what so many of us do when we're on the wrong side of that mindset is instead of decreasing risk after a losing trade, what do? We bump it up. We scale it because we want to make it back. Look, I know for me, I can logically say I shouldn't do this. In fact, I've even said out loud at my desk, I should not do this, and then I click the button. Like, it's not that I don't know, it's that I don't have enough discipline maybe to just let go. How have you managed to sort of handle that on your end to where it's not like psychologically, I know I shouldn't do this, so I'm not going to. I mean, those are two very, very distinctly different things. How have you managed to tune that in?
You know, so I told you I was a professional boxer before, and you learn the hard way. If you do it wrong the first time, you better change it, or you're gonna get knocked out.
Right.
You know, so it's the same thing. Like probably even worse because if I do it the wrong way, I'm gonna continue to lose money.
Right.
Right. So I have to change something. One of the biggest changes is taking the time to focus on this and just this.
Right.
I retired from boxing. As I told you, I peeled back from my logistics company.
Right.
I'm focusing solely on this.
Yeah.
You know, so not only do I take my trades, I journal my trades, I write about it, you know, as I'm taking it. At the end of the week, I go through each of my trades. I'm not taking like 100 trades a day anyway, so I go through each of my trades, my bias, and you know, you fine tune it. You fine tune it each and every week, you know. So by that, I was able to, you know, flip the switch.
Now you mentioned this being your only focus. You know, you're not distracted by 10 other things, and I think that comes from achieving a certain level of success. Most people aren't necessarily in a position where they can say, I'm all in trading today. What do you say to that trader who's like, I've just got to get through this last hurdle, then I can maybe get to the point where I can be not distracted by my 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be. How do you get across that hurdle?
You know, this question, it kind of strikes a chord because I have a couple of people that I talk to and I mentor, you know, for free. And one is a truck driver from Texas. His name is Ace. We'll meet like 3 times a week. Sometimes he'll miss the meeting or whatever. Sometimes he don't do the homework. And I'm like, look, Ace, I mean, you know, I'm doing this for free. I'm trying to help you out. Sure. But like, you know, you're not even taking my time serious. You know, this is about your future. If this is something that you really want to change your life, and it will change your life. Right. You know, if you change it around, you have to put time into it. You have to invest time into yourself, no matter what you're doing. You know, the thing about it, bills have to be paid, so you have to work. I don't know exactly what you have to do, but you have to make a sacrifice. Sure. You know, no pun intended, but there's a rapper named Kevin Gates.
Okay.
His name is Kevin Gates, and he said, it was so hard for me to tell my children, look, I had to let my children, not give them the foster kid, but like, he had to let his children go, like give his children to the mother so he can go all in on his rap career. And he said, sorry, I'm not sorry, because now I'm a multi-millionaire, and now it's all the more better for my kids and my whole family. Sure. You know, because he sacrificed his time with his kids for his success. And that's how important it is. If you want to be successful, you have to focus.
Absolutely. And it is a commitment. It is an ongoing battle. And I feel compelled to address this on a regular basis. There's no overnight success in trading, man. I mean, how long had you been trading by the time you got to be a consistently profitable trader?
Man, over 5 years.
Over 5 years.
Maybe a little more. And it's because I was doing all these different things. I'm doing all these different, you know, boxing in itself, for the time I was doing, like, you can't even part-time box.
No.
You know?
I wouldn't imagine, no.
Yeah. So I'm working out. I do my run in the morning. I do my boxing training. I do my strength and conditioning 3 times a week. Like, it's tough. And then talk about trading. I'm going for my run while I'm in a trade on the phone. You can't do that.
Definitely a tough way to make it work. And I know for me, I do more than just trade. Obviously, I have a lot of personal goals that I work towards that do take time. I mean, I spend usually an hour and a half in the gym at least 5 days a week. I have a wife who, you know, my time with her is very precious. But it really has become a situation where I have to sort of time block. When I'm trading, I'm doing nothing but trading. I may not have the freedom and flexibility to be all in 100%. My day is really focused focused on trading, at least I'm able to sort of chop it up into big enough sections to where they're meaningful and continue to develop and grow. And I'm seeing the fruits of that growth. It doesn't happen overnight. I've been really, really serious about trading for about 13 months now. I guess I can officially announce it here. I don't know. I've got a sort of a question mark on it. This morning I actually submitted my first payment request.
There we go.
It might get denied because of a mistake that I made, but if it does, I'm not worried about it because now I'm at that threshold and I can just continue trading slowly and make more risk-averse decisions to make sure that I continue to grow and build.
And denied or approved, still a milestone.
Big milestone. Dude, I'm super stoked. I am so happy. And at every turn, I mean, when I put in the hard work, like I said, I've been trading, I've been trading consistently for about 2.5 years. And I guess if you go back to the very beginning, it's been almost 30 years. That's not a fair assessment of my experience as a trader. So really about 2.5 years. And it's been really hard. And I've wanted to quit. And I've quit multiple times. And I'm one of those people that's drawn to it. I can't seem to get away from it. I love it. It's just something inside of me needs this. When you take that approach, it may take months or years, and it's probably going to take longer than you think it's going to take. But if you continue to put in the work, that's when you start to see it happen. And after doing over 300 of these interviews, I will say, I think one of the biggest things that prop firms do for traders, and Apex in particular, just because of the low cost of entry, is they give traders time. If you're trading even just $1,000 every time you made an attempt, how many attempts do you get? You get maybe 6 months of attempts at best. Whereas, at 30 to 50 bucks for an evaluation, I could do this for 10 years and it never really dip into my budget, right? It takes a while, but if you keep going, if you keep fighting, there is that light at the end of the tunnel. And talking to traders like you, Court, and so many others has just been such an inspiration to me, and it's the reason that I do what I do. I love this. I love having these conversations with traders every day.
I see it. That's why I like talking to you.
I could do this, as I always say, I could do this all day. Man, I appreciate you hanging out and sharing some of that insight and wisdom, and hopefully this just gets into the right hands and in front of the right eyes where people can really start to turn that corner and see the fruits of all of the effort and the time and energy that's put into it, because it can be frustrating when you feel like I should have gotten there, and it's tough. You're just living proof that if we keep doing what we're doing, success is on the other side.
Yes. Thanks, Gates. Thanks, Apex. Shout out to you guys.
I appreciate you, man. I look forward to the next one.
All right, absolutely. Me too.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.